Welcome to the Other Dads podcast. Two first-time fathers trying not to screw this up.
Welcome back to the Other Dads podcast. This is episode 27, and we got a packed show, as Christian would say. We got a special one here. This is our, what do they call it when it's the second to the penultimate?
That's right.
Episode of season 1 here. We've got catch up, which is, I think it's gonna be more interesting than our usual catch up. Maybe a little sad. And then we're going to talk to an expecting dad. His name is Ryan. He is a colleague of Christian's, and we're going to put him through the gauntlet here. Find out what his expectations are, what questions he has, give him our best and worst advice. And of course, he's got to suffer through a couple simulators, I think.
We got to prepare him well.
Yeah, and obviously those helped us. So if you're hoping to meet Dr. Bill again by the end of the year, he's back. So we'll have that, and then we'll finish with the loaded segments. But before that, Christian, we got a game to pick, and it's a big one. I won again last week, which means I'm now down 2 with 2 to go.
Yep. And this game is big in real life because you get 2 amazing teams playing.
Yep.
The Houston Texans and my Dallas Cowboys.
Yep. And we got looks like we got Joe Buck, Troy Aikman on the call per usual on a Monday night here. I'm Josh. He's the Hall of Famer, Christian.
That's right. It should be fun. I am expecting the Cowboys to surprise some people tonight.
Christian thinks they're winning tonight.
Yeah, me and Josh actually have our own bet on this game outside of this, in which the winner
1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-GAMBLER.
The winner
no money is on the line though.
No, the winner has to buy the other some brews because we're going to the Commanders game next week.
That's right. Commanders, Cowboys.
I can't get enough of this team without
Christian can't stop watching this Cowboys team.
What a roster.
All right, Christian, let's flip a coin here. Generator's been hot for me, I think. Actually, that's not true. You won last week.
Yeah, I know. I had a bad pick.
Bad pick. All right, here we go. This one I think might be decided on the toss here. Will you trust your Cowboys, though? If you win, here we go. Oh, heads. That's me, baby. That is huge. I'm going to put all my eggs in one basket here.
Going to double down on the Austin Texans team.
I'm going to go Texans. Got to do it.
I think they've lost 4 in a row, man.
Nico's back. Nico Collins is back. Stroud's playing as best as he ever has.
Yeah, so I'll take the Cowboys. That's exciting. I'm doubling down. I'm going to, gosh, I need to win next week if I don't win this week. This would be Reggie Miller-esque.
We could just make next week the winner of Commanders Cowboys.
No, come on.
All right, Christian, let's move on here. What are you drinking?
You know, fan favorite, Miller High Life.
I
I never knew this was going to be the rest of the season.
Yeah.
When I got this.
I think that's 4 out of the last 5 weeks.
What about you?
I've got a Hansel and Kettle.
Ooh, what?
This is I've had it before. Friend of the program brought me it. 3 Notch Brewing. It's an Imperial Oktoberfest lager.
It's November, so you got
I've got a lot of Oktoberfest I got to get through here.
Nothing like drinking a pumpkin ale in March.
Christian, do you notice anything different about me?
You're wearing a hat.
Nope.
You still have a mustache. You get a haircut?
Nope.
No, I don't.
This tells me the state of what was going on for me.
No,
You're in the right region.
I don't notice.
Okay. The beard is gone.
Oh my gosh. You had a beard?
Some people call it the neared, the neck beard.
I had no clue you had a beard, man.
That's not true. You did.
I
You
did
sent
not.
me a picture of myself a week ago and said this doesn't even look like you.
That looked like an accident.
Okay. All right. Well, anyways, yes, the beard is gone, and there's a reason for that. Christian, I want to, as I get into my week here, we'll find out why. Like I said, I work long days. When I work, I see JA for about 15, 20 minutes at night for bath time and his last feeding. And this week I came home, and every single day, JA was totally calm, either in the tub or with mom, with Lady G. I'd come in, I'd go up to him and look at him. I smile. I say, "Hey, buddy." He'd stare at me. He'd stare at me. Immediately scream. 4 days in a row. Every time, just screamed. Ruined bath time one night. Not good. This then culminated in Sunday morning before church. Lady G was getting ready. I was on the floor with him playing. We played for 20 minutes.
Awesome.
He stared at me for 20 minutes and did not smile once, just stared at me.
Hey, he's figuring you out, man.
So we're going the wrong way. And so talked about this with Lady G, been pretty upset by it, obviously. The smiles were really all I had going. Laugh Watch update. There is no Laugh Watch. It's I think we're gonna have to cancel Laugh Watch.
It's
No more. No more. Find out in season 2 if J.A.
if my son is capable of laughing.
Yeah. It's just not happening. So smiles were all I had. So losing that.
I'm kind of nervous to meet him and make him laugh.
I mean, yeah, if that happens, I'm done. If you make him laugh before I do, it might be the end of the show, maybe the friendship. So decided yesterday, shave the beard. Lady G said 2 things. One, it could be at the end of the night, he's pretty sleepy and he's pretty grumpy, and having change during that time can make him more upset. So I think maybe me coming home as he's winding down could make him more upset. And then the other thing is, because he's so young, with me growing my voluptuous beard, that was a big change for him from how he's known me prior to that for the first 2/3 of his life.
I mean, that beard took you a while to grow, didn't it?
It did.
Wasn't it gradual change?
Oh no, that was very gradual. But for some reason it just didn't work for him. So shaved it, went up to him immediately, and he didn't have a huge reaction, but we've gotten back to smiles. So
All right.
I'm not sure I'll ever have a beard again.
I thought about shaving the stash, and I got nervous about what you're talking about, and so I kept it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would not recommend it.
Yeah.
I know this is. I know this is true because my dad had a mustache my whole life, and then I think when I was probably maybe kindergarten or first grade, he had some type of surgery or something, and he ended up shaving his mustache. I don't really know if it was related. I don't know what happened, but anyways, I came home from school. He didn't have his mustache, and they convinced me that he was my dad's long lost uncle, and I legitimately believed him because I was so like, that's not my dad.
Yeah, it's different, man.
So different.
Well, I'm glad you got to the bottom of it and you got some smiles, man. Because it seemed like you were down bad.
I was, yeah. I was texting. I was like, I know he doesn't hate me, but this is getting old. And then I think the next day I said, okay, I think he might actually hate me.
He may hate you.
It's like Laugh Watch, still to be, we don't know.
Yeah.
And then Christian, one more quick thing. I haven't talked about it much recently in the pod. JA has a VSD, has a hole in his heart, and that's something we've been going to monthly appointments for. And we had one today. Not going to get too much into it. Really, not much has changed. They're just going to keep monitoring him from month to month. He's still kind of in like the middle spot as far as it has a chance to close up naturally, or they might have to go in for surgery. So we're still kind of not the worst news, but not great news either way there. But one thing I wanted to say that I've got a bone to pick with these doctor places is every time you go to these visits, they measure height and weight, right?
Yep.
And what do they do to these poor, little sensitive, emotional babies? They take all their clothes off, they get them nice and cold, and then they force them onto this hard plastic cold table and say, lay down and be still.
Did they say that?
No, but that's inferred.
Yeah.
I mean, J.A. hates it every time he screams.
And they stretch them out.
What do you want? Yeah, you guys are stretching them out.
Mm-hmm. I too have a bone to pick with healthcare. If we may make the transition.
If we may.
When we switched to formula, or more formula than breastfeeding,
Mm-hmm.
we looked up online how much we should be feeding our son per feed and how much he needs per day. And so we decided, you know what, let's feed him 6 ounces based on his weight and his age. And we take him in next time he gets weighed, he's gaining weight well, things are working really well. Like, oh, wow, the formula worked. Doctor says, how much are you feeding him and how often? We tell her, and she says, actually, you should be feeding him about half as much as that per feeding. So we say, okay, doc, whatever you say, we trust you because you are a medical doctor. Not even just an anthropologist doctor, an actual doctor.
It wasn't Dr. Dom.
And so we come back and we start feeding him 3 ounces and things are going okay for a little bit. Then the next week, JJ is inconsolable for about 2 or 3 days in a row. And they say to call after 48 hours if they haven't pooped. So we call this nurse on the nurse hotline, is asking us all these questions. And finally she said, well, how much are you feeding him? We tell her, and she said, you need to feed him double of that at least. So our doctor created her own problem. We were underfeeding our son. It was very hard to hear, and it sucks because we were doing the right thing. This isn't me saying don't listen to your doctors. I think doctors usually are awesome. I'm assuming there's a miscommunication. All right, Nico Collins just housed it on the very first play. Awesome. Go Dallas Cowboys.
Flag.
I think it's not coming back. Oh, D'Amico's not very excited. I think it's coming back. And yeah, it just so frustrating because it was a totally avoidable issue. It was you just feel terrible. I mean, like, you're like, why is he crying? What's wrong with him? And it's like he just wants to freaking eat. And I don't know. It just stinks. You just feel like he had such a bad week. I Googled, did I stunt my son's growth? Like, I'm just, all I can think about is he's going to be short like me. So
Average.
Anyway,
Average.
that's right. World average, not American.
For the world male.
Yeah, that's
you'd be a giant in some of these Asian countries. How long did this go on? Of the half feeding?
About a week. So about 3 days, I think he was fine because he had enough stored up, and then it really took a turn. And I didn't mention this. When we did start feeding him more, it was night and day. I mean, that day when we started feeding him 6 ounces, he pooped twice, napped 3 times for an hour or more, and played like the whole time.
Yeah.
So it was just
tough.
So much frustration that was avoidable. So much, you just feel bad. You're like, my job is to feed the kid. But I mean, it's really, I don't know how it would have been avoided other than being like 3 ounces. You're crazy. That's about all we could have done.
Yeah.
Because you got to trust them. I mean, it's like an auto mechanic. You don't know medical stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, yeah. Maybe you throw out a joke like, really, Doc? You think he needs to go on a diet this early? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe that would have done it.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
There had to have been a miscommunication. There had to have been. It's the only thing I can think of. Because I think Lady A said every 3 hours to the doc, and the doc probably thought that meant including nighttime, when actually he sleeps for 10 to 12 hours. So we're not feeding him during that. So that it would have been half.
So it would have equaled.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm thinking of something like that. Well, that's mainly my week.
Inadvertently, we might have been doing the same thing over here. JA's been, I think we just realized recently, he's been kind of struggling with breastfeeding. And so we made an appointment for later this week to get back to the breastfeeding specialist that we saw earlier that did his tongue tie. We're worried that his tongue tie might be starting to reattach a little bit. He's just been really struggling and probably not getting enough milk. We tried bottle feeding him a couple of times the last couple of days, and he's just been pounding milk, like way happier, fuller. His poops have been on he was struggling to poop for a while, just not having many. And now he's back on his normal poop schedule.
Good.
And Lady G did some research, and we feel pretty dumb because I've talked about this for probably a month, that we've just been struggling at night with he's just constantly wanting his pacifier, and that we just go in there, we give him the pacifier, and then he's fine for like 20 minutes, and then he needs it again. Turns out, I think he was just hungry, and we were just shoving the pacifier in there.
This guy really always likes to fake eat at night.
Yeah. We feel bad. It's like he was waking up and was like, well, feed me. Just there, take this.
Tape it to his mouth.
Put it in your mouth.
You got to find a way to never get this out of there. I'm tired of feeding this kid.
Yeah. So,
I mean, you don't know, man. It's just, they can't talk. You don't know what they need.
It's so hard. And you can't just like, well, he cried once, I guess we need to feed him. But
yeah, you look back. I look back and I'm like, oh, JJ was inconsolable. How dumb of me. But it's like, You don't know. That's what they need.
Well, the other thing is like with our
Hundred
schedule. Yeah, with our schedule is that we're trying to push that because we're still doing a nighttime feeding. It's like we're trying to push that as far as we can in hopes to eventually get rid of it. But like that means he's fussing for X amount of time. It's like, well, we got to get through to where it's like really bad, and then be like, okay, let's feed him. Versus that whole time he was like, I'm not full yet. I'm not full. So, so both of us inadvertently starving your children sounds bad, but I mean,
Yeah, it's hard. Lady A has been having a hard time with it. She feels terrible. I mean, obviously I do too, but I just feel like it was out of our. I mean, it's in our hands, but out of our hands. You just don't know, man.
At least you had the doctor's excuse. Ours was, I don't know what ours was, but that's the other thing about breastfeeding. It's I've always thought is like I've always asked Lady like how do you know how much he's getting? You know.
Well, they're supposed to, I guess, detach when they're done. They start to do like non-helpful sucking. I don't know what the right terming is, but they kind of play around down there.
Yeah. Up there, I should say.
Yeah. All right. Well, Josh, I think we should bring our friend on.
Let's do it. Let's get expecting dad Ryan in.
All right, Ryan, thanks for joining us. For those out there, Ryan is a colleague of mine who is a TOD faithful. He came up to me and told me about he liked the show and that he was expecting. And I was like, man, we got to get Ryan on to hear more about their journey and pass on all of our wisdom. And Ryan is also from Boston and is a big Boston fan. Ryan, when we were preparing for this interview, most of what we talked about was how many accents do we do and for how long? Welcome to the show, Ryan. Anything to add?
No, I appreciate you guys having me. Yeah, longtime listener, first time caller. If I came on the show looking for advice, you would know I'm not a listener.
Oh, love it.
Now, I give you guys a lot of credit. I don't know anyone who has a child with the intention of just starting a podcast for it. So total credit to you guys. That's a serious commitment to the show.
That's why we did it. That's why we did it.
And we knew it was the way to fortune and fame.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ryan, can you tell us a little about you in regards to how long y'all are and when is the due date? And any details you'd like to share about your family?
Yeah, growing family. My wife is technically due December 1st. We are going to be induced exactly 1 week from now. Baby on the bigger side. So getting ready, bags are packed for the hospital in case she goes into labor beforehand. But as of our last doctor's appointment last week, baby is big and comfortable in there. So
you are amongst friends in regards to giant babies.
Yeah. Oh gosh. That episode definitely came in handy and kind of gearing up for myself.
Ryan, I see you're sipping on something. What are you drinking? When I first talked to you about this, you said you were excited to come on the show and finally have someone drink something that is good.
Yeah, there's some early episodes or some questionable choices by you guys.
No, you're not drinking an ice?
What about a Miller High Life?
The Miller High Life's probably on the better end of the spectrum.
Oh, wow.
That's not good. The banquet beer.
Rye whiskey, Sagamore rye.
Wow. All right.
Thanks for the intro, Ryan. Let's get into our questions, Josh.
First off. Yeah, first one, Ryan. Which Boston sports figure would you want your kid to be named after? Are we thinking maybe Big Papi? You know, you could go recently with Jason Tatum. With Jason Tatum.
Yeah, the hard part is having an O.
Noma.
So we get into it. Having an O to start the last name limits a lot of Boston sports figures. Like Ortiz, O'Connor doesn't really play into one another, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Tom O'Brady.
I like O'Brady. Changing the full name. Tom O'Brady O'Connor.
Tommy. Now, you don't know the gender of your baby. That's correct.
That is true. And like good Boston townie fandom, I don't think I could name a woman on the Boston professional women's hockey team yet. They're starting out though, so give me a season. Maybe I'll come around on that.
Christian, you're Mr. WNBA. Who they got up in the Boston?
We don't have a team.
They don't have a team, man. Come on. Right. That's how you know you don't watch the WNBA. The Connecticut Sun are their, I guess, most approximate team. So
okay. Ryan, last question on Boston here. who's like a Boston persona person that like you can't stand? Someone in the media, maybe an athlete that the Bostonians are like, we don't like them.
Ooh,
Christian,
the
Christian,
Bostonians or myself? Because
I don't think we like them, but we don't like them.
thank you for joining the accent, Christian. I was feeling left alone here.
Yeah, getting me 3 more drinks.
My accent goes real quick from Boston to, hey, what you doing? Real quick.
To New York Mafia.
Figure most recently that's been annoying to deal with from a Boston perspective,
Mm-hmm.
though I find it funny, is the Sam Adams commercial guy, like my cousin
From
from Boston.
That's what I went with to start.
That's perfect.
It's brutal.
Ryan, what have you been? How have you been preparing for, childbirth, for raising a kid, and have you been reading any books?
So my wife is a teacher. We have been prepared for months. This kid could have come home at week 20. Nursery painted, all the things ordered. Everything we're getting as gifts now is like cherry on the top from a physical, ready to have the baby standpoint. The mental side of it definitely taken a little more time to kind of get used to. And especially now we have like the pen date of induction. So it's not this kind of outstanding when, but 1 week from today, I will probably have a child. So it's interesting getting ready for that. My wife and I's anxiety. One is plenty.
Is that a Boston thing? I'm not in the loop. My cousin.
One fiery redhead wife is enough for me. We are anxious about the complete opposite things, and rightfully so. Like, right, her anxiety lays with the physical childbirth and going through that process, where I am worried about putting them on the bus for the first time and what happens when they go to high school and want to explore the world. And the first time, like if it's a daughter, she brings a boy around, like all these like kind of larger down the road life events. I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to deal with that. Like, I can't even imagine my little cupcake or Junior bringing a girl into his room for the first time or something like that.
My little Sam Adams. Yeah. Right, let's stop now.
All right, Josh, come on, man. Turn the page. Yeah, that makes sense. I think that's totally how it goes. Like I had all these thoughts about I'm always thinking about what I'm gonna teach him, and like he doesn't even know words, so it's real. I don't know why as men we think about down the road stuff, but that's natural.
The hard one for me to come around to, or the hard one conceptually, but not being around newborn children for a lot of my life. And it's not like I don't come from a big family and I have plenty of cousins, stuff like that. But growing up as like a high school boy, I wasn't like, oh yeah, let me like go to the hospital and hold my little cousin for the first time or anything like that. I would just, same at the next Christmas party. I don't need to hold the baby or anything. But so the stages of those early life events, like crawling, I didn't know that babies didn't laugh as soon as they came out or things like that. So one of the things I'm really fired up
too
for
close
is
to
like,
home. Josh is still on laugh watch over here.
It's like I just took for granted that happens.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you're in for a treat, buddy.
Yeah. Like all these events that that's a month 1 or a month 3 or whatever they are. But I'm really, really excited for my child to try new foods, and I can't wait to cook things for them. And I love cooking. It's a big part of like my family culture and stuff like that. And then I'm getting fired up and I'm talking to my wife about it. And she's like, you are a year and a half away from letting your child try this thing.
Exactly, man. You got a year and a half of sluggish before that.
And I was like, no, it'll be early. She's like, you can't give a meatball to my kid. Like, don't do that.
That's awesome.
So no books, nothing.
Yeah, that's what we heard. That's what I heard.
No books.
Okay.
People have given us a couple. My brother-in-law, who has a 5-month-old now, gave us one that he read, and I flipped through it, and it's more of a checklist per month type of thing.
Yeah.
All right.
Who needs that? He's going to be eating meatballs.
Yeah. One day. And I've tried to lay it off because like Instagram is the worst. Scroll through and it's, I'm a pediatrician, 10 things every mom should have. Here's an item that doctors swear by, but is actually useless. Here's the wrong way to hold your kid. Here's the right way to hold your kid. And it's the same piece of information. It's almost like I'm done. I'm not going to read any of it.
Yeah, man, that's good. Hats off to you. I think that's I think the biggest thing I've learned is our instincts are probably the best thing we got.
Not always, but
they're pretty good. I think the books were good in regards to I think one or two, and then you have enough to start like making educated guesses on instinct.
Mhm.
But after that, oh my gosh, you can second guess everything, you can triple check everything. It just gets too much, and your instincts, are like humans have been doing this for a while without books.
So I'm proud of you though for no books. You're definitely taking. I'm glad you've been listening. Listen to me. It sounds like.
Yeah, you guys have taught me all I need to know.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't regret reading the books. I think eventually turn the Google off. Like we had segments about when we do Google searches and stuff, and it's nothing good. It basically, you just like hold your baby, make them feel better, do your best. They're pretty simple beings. All right, Ryan, we asked you before you came on to prepare some questions for some veterans. Now we're on the other side. Our kids are doing great. The start of this episode is that they may be starving.
My kid hasn't smiled at me all week.
So, what do you have? What questions do you have? How can we help? We'd love to give us some advice.
Oh God. All right, let's start with day of, and this is something you guys have, or days of being in the hospital, and something you guys kind of talked about in the past, but now you've gone through it, you've reflected, you've interviewed people on it. The rating of these carts that they bring in when you are on your way out of the hospital. Do it, don't do it, cram my bag full of diapers. A little space, I'm already in an overflow duffel bag, but am I taking everything off that cart? What should I do here?
Oh, you're saying when they set you up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they don't take the wipes, they don't put them for the next person, all that sort of stuff. But it feels kind of weird going into the hospital being like, man, I wonder how much I can carry out of this place.
Yeah, for me, I would say, I don't remember too specifically what happened, but I know we took like 2 or 3 bags of stuff from the hospital, and I think my advice would be take whatever they're willing to give you, because it's free, as far as I know. We might have gotten billed for that. Yeah, so I know we took like multiple bags home, stuff with like some pumping stuff. I don't know. There was a couple other things that we were using when we were there that we got to take home.
I would say this probably aligns with how you treat hotels. Like when you go to hotels, like growing up, we would take the toilet paper. We'd take
not the single ply. Come on.
Yeah, that's brutal.
We'd stock up, man. The Kleenex. So yeah, I mean, I'm just a cheap guy. So yeah, we took everything. They were like, you can have everything but the linens, is what they said. And literally, like they had given us a bowl to wash the stuff with, like a plastic, almost mixing bowl, to wash all his different feeding things with, and that's here now, and we use it as a mixing bowl. I took it all home. So, they had, you walk out of there with some formula, diapers, all sorts of good stuff. Yeah, no, I'd take it all.
All right. Looking back on it now, and I'm still in these 4 days of the hospital here, or what they tell me will be 3 nights on an incredibly comfy pull-out chair, whatever the hell I'm sleeping on.
Yeah.
Anything like you look back on and you're just like, dang, I wish I had granola bars or my own slippers, or like the range of outfits I have packed for some reason are like total grow fits to, I should have looked pretty good the first time. So I have like khakis and a button down. Like I'm just going to look like I'm going to a business meeting after my kid. Well, like, what am I not thinking of as the experts, as like the 2 people who are hosting a show specifically for dads? What am I missing?
Well, I can tell you right off the bat, you were going to want to go business formal.
Josh wore, I think you're going to want more than one hoodie. Josh wore one hoodie for like 4 days.
I wore this. I think I brought 2 pairs of clothes. And so, I mean, every picture coming in each day was just me in the same sweatshirt, same pants. We were there longer than I planned, I think. So
yeah,
have a fresh pair of clothes for sure.
I think you want comfortable, maybe athleisure. That's probably what you want. Athleisure is that's the style, because you're gonna be,
maybe a nice stretchy pair of joggers, that says like I could take a business call, but I'm also headed to the gym.
I just think you're going to be so much more active than like right now. What you think you're going to be so much more active. Like your wife is going to need so much, and then even after birth, no matter what happens there, you're going to be needed to do so much because she'll be recovering. You need to be able to quickly get up. So if you're in something more formal, like you need to be able basically to be sleeping in the thing you're going to be wearing. You know what I'm saying? So like khakis probably aren't gonna be working.
To go back to what I originally said, that's a great point, Christian, is like I was wearing the same thing, and I don't think it was till like I sent Christian a picture and he was like, "Man, you really like that sweatshirt." And I was like, "Oh wow, like I haven't really changed." Like it didn't really like bother me. It wasn't something I was thinking about. Like Christian said, you're so much busier than you expect. And it wasn't really until like post birth that I was like, can I like take a shower and put some new clothes on and feel fresh? So yeah, I think I remember like looking into it, you like thinking about all these things. And I think selfishly, sometimes you think like, for me, it was like, what am I going to have for food? What's going to be my situation? Like, what clothes should I pack? What am I going to wear? And then you get in there and it's just like, man, like none of that mattered. Like I'm
It's
here,
crazy.
I'm wearing what I got. Like, like it's just, you're just kind of reacting to what's going on and not really thinking a whole lot about anything else.
Anything else, Ryan?
Yeah, the only other questions I have really get into like the philosophical of this. Like now that you have a child, and this conversation I get into with my wife, and I feel like there's so much responsibility. Yes, in addition to I'm not responsible for a human being and keeping it alive and fed and treating it correctly and all that sort of stuff. But I'm really of the mindset, like I made the decision. It's not an oops a baby or anything like that, right? My wife and I tried to conceive with the intention of bringing a human into this world.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I owe it a certain level of experiences. Like, hey, we only get one trip on this rock, and I decided to bring you into this world. So I'm going to promise you, let's try X, Y, and Z, and we're always going to be doing new things. And maybe it's this first time new dad energy, and in 5 years from now, I'm going to be so tired and beaten back on a day-to-day basis. And I'm like, no, like we're not going to the park or anything like that. But am I just overthinking this because I'm a week out and like emotions are racing, or what did you guys get any sense of this?
That's good. Yeah, I mean, I think I don't know if I have a great kind of answer or thought on that, but the one thing I'm thinking about is like I don't know if like being on guard is the term I would use, but I think we'll get into this in a sec, but I think it's really easy in the first couple of weeks, first couple of months to get like really beaten down. I think I'm kind of like you where I'm so excited for like the future, and getting able to do things, teaching things and go to, new places and do new things with him. But, it feels like so far away. But I think that attitude is the right attitude, and like being able to put that into effect early, I think is huge. I think that's one thing I've experienced now is, I think I can see myself like get into bad habits of being passive or checking out at times because he's young and, I can't get much out. There's not a lot of payoff that I think that that habit will only follow me down the road. And so I would say like be on guard to, if that's your attitude and that's kind of your philosophy, like you said, to have that as like a guiding point for you during the first couple of weeks, first couple of months. Cause I think it can be easy to fall into like, oh, wow, this is really hard. This is not what I expected. This is not fun. But like I've talked to Christian before, like down the road when they're a teenager, becoming a young man, young woman, like I think a lot of that parenting that I think you get excited about during this stage starts to come into effect, and you really start to feel like the impact of being a parent and like what the fulfillment side of that looks like.
That's so good, Josh. I think that's so important. I think those moments are so much sweeter if you're doing the work now too. Like, I remember holding you when all you could do is scream, and now, look at you go.
Yeah, right.
I think so many dads are excited for that. And this part is like, what the hell?
Yeah, this part, but I think if you like let this part bring you down too much, then you like
Yep, exactly.
you don't just wake up one day when they're 10 and be like, all right, I'm pumped now.
Now we're gonna have a good relationship.
Yeah.
You've got to be there through this. Thanks for those questions, Ryan. Next, we're going to get into what we wanted to call expectations versus reality, a new game show. Ryan, come on down to expectations versus reality. Or you could just think of the meme, that's what we're going for here. I think we don't want to be Debbie Downers, but I was even thinking today, nurseries are way too cute because what goes on in a nursery is not
Thank
cute.
Thank you.
So, we just want to help hopefully give you some reality. I think we'll have some good stories, some hard stories, and we're going to basically just present some topics, get your thoughts on them, and then tell you how it actually went. All right?
Real level setting.
All right. The first topic is, what is it like after the baby is born, whether that be at the hospital or at home? What are those first 2 weeks like? Ryan, what are you expecting?
So from what I have been told, it is a total black hole. The clock no longer exists. Is the baby hungry? Is the baby asleep? Have you slept? It means nothing. You don't eat, you don't bathe, no brushing your teeth. Maybe I'm being optimistic. It can't be that bad. There has to be some sense of normalcy on a day-to-day basis, like my routine normally is. Right?
Okay.
That is the expectation. And Josh, what is the reality?
I would say the optimistic side of you is accurate. I don't believe it to be a total black hole. I actually think early on it's a crazy schedule and it's not one that you're going to be used to, but it is scheduled in a sense. Like, again, I don't know what you've been told and what you've been advised to do, but I feel like the standard is pretty much you're feeding them every 2 to 3 hours. And so you kind of live in these 3-hour segments. At night, obviously, depending on what you guys do, as far as is somebody going to stay up? Is somebody going to get up, constantly throughout the night? Is a little bit different, but I think you definitely have time to shower, to brush your teeth. Now the schedule is a little bit different. Like I said, it's not gonna be any type of normalcy from what you're used to, but there's like a new normalcy of the baby eats at these times, the baby takes naps at these times. How do I fit to that?
I think that's pretty true. I think it's not like where now it's like I'm gonna brush my teeth in the morning and shower at this time. It's just like you do it when you can. So like I would one time I ate breakfast at 2 p.m. and then brushed my teeth at 5 p.m. and showered at 4 a.m. Like but it was doable. And I think the key to all of this is that we all work for companies where we get leave.
Mm-hmm.
And without work, this thing is pretty doable, I think. I think that's the key.
I think that's a good transition to the next, maybe expectation reality. We've talked about a lot, paternity leave. Ryan, what are your expectations for paternity? How many weeks are you taking off? Do you guys have a plan as far as, night shift schedules? What are you looking like going into that?
Yeah. All right. So on the processy side, I get 8 weeks, splitting it up 4 and 4 right off the bat. And that will take us into the holiday season. Then I'll come back to work in the new year. And then I will take another 4 weeks down the road when my wife returns to work, just so we don't need like babysitting for another month. In terms of the day-to-day basis, I am a night owl as is, and my wife is an early to bed, early to rise morning person. So our plan for now, and I know there are a lot of things that need to fall in place for us to get there, is I will do some of the night feeding and staying up, where she will take like those early morning shifts. I, from an expectation standpoint, really think like I'm going to be fine. There are going to be so many hours off, like, because I'm just used to being at work and being on call for certain things. I do expect to answer some work emails. I've been told my boss does not want that, but I don't want to return to work with a million things in my inbox as is. Someone has already said that I am living in fantasy land right there. So I leave it to the experts to decide.
I think reality is I built a patio in the first couple of weeks, and I probably never exercised more than those. So like it's really hard, but weirdly you have a lot of time.
What a humble brag to start that answer off.
I'm just saying. I'm saying that because that's like I could never imagine doing that now that I'm working again and have a kid. I think it's one of the craziest times, those first couple weeks, and everything is new and you're learning so much. But they do sleep, and they just sleep and eat. And so
yeah, the one answer I was going to have is, and maybe it goes back to the first question. You talked about black hole and time not existing. During paternity leave, time does not exist. And that's not like, and I don't say that in a negative way. I actually mean that in like a positive way. Like there's just no responsibility outside the kid. And so, especially if you're going to be doing the night shift, if you're a night owl, every day it's like, there's no, like, this is Monday, you know, like every day feels like it's the same day. And there's no obligations outside of the kid. And the other thing I would say is, you mentioned earlier, maybe off air, that you were downloading Call of Duty. I pretty much intentionally bought a PlayStation 5 and got college football, which had just come out right before my son was born. And I would say I played it probably almost daily during paternity leave. And I got a lot of video game time in. I don't remember the last time I played, though.
maybe we're already blacking it out already, but it was very hard. But you have a lot of time, but I'm telling you, that first week at work is going to hit you like a freight train.
Yeah.
And there's no way around it. It's just so much time now gone, and you come home and you're like, what happened? And your wife's hair is messed up, and you're like,
it's hard, but it's almost like it doesn't matter that it's hard.
Exactly.
Because it's
what
like,
else do you have to do?
It's like, who cares? You know, like, it's not like I got to get up for work in the morning. Like, if I'm up all night, oh well, I'll be able to nap sometime in the morning, like tomorrow.
Exactly.
Like, it's just, nothing really matters.
Every day is a weekend.
So it's way easier to be like patient and like take the negatives kind of stride by stride versus, I think, going back to work. Yeah, it's just different animal.
Yeah, it's kind of a question like coming off of that, and it's something I've thought about, but frankly almost feel selfish asking, just given like what's going on with like my wife's body and what is probably lining up to be a C-section for us, and so that's its own level of recovery. But physical fitness, like, that's my de-stressor. Like, if I have a bad day, I'm gonna go for a run, get it all out. But I fear this, like, being in those first 2 weeks and we're grinding and I'm not sleeping and baby's crying or whatever it have you, all the stresses that come with a new child, not finding time to even like get outside or go for a walk, or can I get a run in, or whatever it is like that. So just curious from your guys' perspective. Like, I mean, Kirsten's out here building a deck, so I guess my answer might be answered from, or my question might be answered from that. So, like, was it that bad? Can I find time?
So I would say, well, first of all, congrats to you as a contestant on Expectations versus Reality. That was, it looks like, expectation number 6 we were going to go over was fitness. I would say reality for me.
Yeah, do I win?
Yeah. To your point, I felt almost like guilt being able to get out of the house and go to the gym for an hour, and, you know, not get away, but get away from like a crying baby for a little bit and just go have some alone time. And I think it just kind of depends on like you and your wife. I think for my wife, she knew that was like important to me, and that was time that I enjoyed. And so I was kind of like, I had almost like that 1 hour a day to get out. But to put to the other point, it's like, I think you have more time than you think. And obviously right away, if there is a C-section, which both of us experienced, like, I mean, your wife can't do much. And so you really need to be right by them for a little bit. But once they're able to start, you know, moving around on their own, picking up the baby on their own, it does, I think, free up But I think it's good to have like that one thing that, gets you out of the house for a little bit. And at some point, I think it's also important to be able to create that space for your wife. I think that was like a challenge, is that it's like my wife can't go to the gym. And so I think that's kind of where the guilt came in, because like that was something she did. She would work out. And so it almost felt like, I'm like not rubbing it in her face, but it's like, I can do this and you can't.
I would time my exercise around basically when he would go down for a nap. So that way Lady A was napping and then I would go for a run. So, or I'd go swimming or something. So that was my, I think you can do it in a way that isn't so bad. But yeah, I mean, you just feel, I've talked a lot with Lady A. It's like, you can go do this, or you should go do this, or you should make, and it's like, it's not like I think she's going to tell me no. It's that you want to be available. You want to be an extra set of hands. And so it's not guilt as much as it's just like, if I'm not home, then that means I'm not there to say yes. And I want to be around to be able to say yes.
Yeah.
So
I feel like actually those are like pro level answers. You guys are killing it right now.
Next topic, expectations versus reality, breastfeeding. What is your expectation on one? How it's
Nursing.
Yeah.
And
I don't think
one, how it's going to go, and two, on how you're going to be involved.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't really have an expectation. Our plan, or whatever you want to call it, is that my wife will breastfeed our child. From the non-birthing parent or whatever they're calling me on my insurance perspective, I don't really have an expectation, right? That takes me out of it. If she pumps, I'm happy to wake up in the middle of the night and like do the bottle and stuff like that. But I'm thinking of like Meet the Fockers, right? Like, I got nipples, Greg. Can you milk me? You can't. You just can't. I can't really do anything for the baby from that perspective.
I'll say it. I've said it once. I'll say it 100 times. I wish I could have breastfed. They have such a sweet time. What I would say, this is something I had no expectations about. To give you some reality, is you're going to be way more involved than you think. If you guys end up breastfeeding, and like Josh's, I think, lowest moment maybe of his life was spilling. So basically your wife, at the beginning, they have colostrum, and so they're not producing.
I remember this story.
Yeah, they're not producing a lot. And so what they do produce, you're like, 6 milliliters? You kidding me, babe? Let it go. But you have to handle like taking it and like transferring it and putting in the bags or putting in a bottle, and you have these little syringes at the beginning. It's like you're so pumped, and then later when the milk comes in, it's like you just feel like there's a flood. But yeah, you're doing a lot of that and like washing bottles and stuff. So I think I totally did not expect how much time I'd be just doing, like, interacting with all the breast milk and or feeding him or storing it. And then Josh has some tales on not storing it well.
I do. Do I?
Yeah, you spilt it. And then you punish yourself.
Don't spill the colostrum. Let's see. So I would say for me, hospital, like, super involved. And again, I think part of that's probably because of C-section as well. Like, first couple of weeks post C-section, super involved. And I would say at one point we kind of went to like pretty much exclusively breastfeeding and not so much bottle, not so much pumping, stuff like that. And at that point, I would say I became like way less involved. It was kind of like them doing it. And to go against Christian's point, in case you don't, for devil's advocate, you're not like a breastfeed. And if you listen to the end of this episode, I'll actually have a segment along those lines.
All right. Next, expectations versus reality is, what are your expectations around seeing your friends?
That is the exact one I had, and I knew you guys were going to get to it.
Fellas, as we call them.
Yeah. Time with fellas.
Yeah. Depending on where you guys do in the order of this episode, I have not seen my fellas this past week. Doing a lot of prepping. It's interesting. The girls in my friend group are gonna swarm this place. I know they're gonna want to see this baby.
Oh, that's sweet.
My wife and I are the hosting friends of the family. Like, we love having people over. We're really social people, pride ourselves on throwing a good party. Like that's who we are.
My
And we're
invite
gonna
get
want
lost
to
in the
continue
mail. It's fine.
Now that I'm on the show, maybe you'll get it. So it's definitely something we're going to want to continue, and we're going to want the baby after shots and all that, like to be around people and get used to that sort of stuff. On the flip side of that, the fellas in my life, a couple of them are dads, but like not nearly the majority. I'm on the early end of my friend group having a kid. And I have some who are still like in the going out to pick up girls phase of life, or holding on to that phase of life.
Yeah, not doing
That
well.
doesn't necessarily jive with seeing my buddy who just had a baby.
Yeah.
So it's sad, but I have pretty low expectations of like seeing my friends to the extent I have. But what I will say, and we kind of hit on this already, I'm downloading the new Call of Duty. So like that is a social aspect of it. Like I don't play by myself. I almost exclusively log on and play with my buddies and talk to them. A majority of which are newer fathers, like all within a year. So I'm kind of like, oh, all right, there's going to be the social. It's going to be my social out. I'm going to have a drink, talk to my buddies. We're going to bitch and moan about whatever's going on in our lives. Like the kids did X, Y, and Z. My wife, whatever. Work sucks, but still get that interaction. So I think that's where my expectation lies. Like there's going to be some, but I'm not golfing Friday, Saturday, and Sunday with my buddies.
Christian, I think we should have done some research to this and maybe given a percentage of
Our
did
weeks.
Did you see the fellas? How many have been yeses? How many have been nos? Because
I think the key though is that you do see people. It's different though. So when we say no, that doesn't mean we didn't see any of our friends. It's that we didn't see our friends, our guy friends, exclusively by ourselves without our wives. I think that's the one that changes in it. But it's not ever, at least for my instance, it's not that, like I said, similar to exercise. It's never been my wife saying no. It's more of me being like, I want to be around and available. But yeah, I think even the ones you were saying, the ladies coming over, your girlfriends, it's like the schedule is going to dominate, at least for us. So that if they get over at 6, that dude's going to bed in 20 minutes, man. So it'll be a quick visit. So that's one thing I'd say is like, it just, your day kind of shortens whenever you start to get into a rhythm. What I really want to tell you, Ryan, is that I think one of the biggest shocks I had the whole experience is that come whatever y'all set as your child's bedtime, you're in for the night.
Yeah.
That is giant transition from like, you know what, I want some Taco Bell, or like I don't know, I don't even know what I was doing with my nights. I have no clue. But the fact that you can't, you're like, you just get like a little cabin fever sometimes. Early on, we were getting used to that change. It's like, oh, it's 7 p.m. We are inside. That is, and so in regards to friends, it's like that's a big change. You know, who does anything before 7 p.m.?
Which I think is like, for me at least, it's Ryan, from the questions you've asked and your desire to look at emails when you're on paternity leave, I'm guessing you're like a pretty organized, pretty disciplined person.
That's great. I have you totally fooled.
Okay, all right, you fooled me. You got me. I'm a pretty like spontaneous person. I'm not the most organized. I'm usually late to things. Having like a schedule has been like, it sounds like it's gonna suck. And like to Christian's point, it sounds like I can't do anything after 7. Like this is gonna suck. But it's honestly like such a relief and such a like positive to be able to like shape things around it. And it does like get in the way of certain things that can make it challenging, but being able to have a schedule, like plan things around, and it's not changing, from my end has been like a blessing in disguise in a sense.
I think one of the components of it that my wife and I share a little bit of anxiety around is the loss of spontaneity, right? We can't just, hey, let's go grab a drink, or let's grab an app at the restaurant we like, see a movie or anything like that. It becomes this extra level of, can we bring the baby, find a babysitter? Are we going to be too tired? Whatever it may be. That I hope it's one of those things we're just overthinking in the moment. I mean, it certainly has to be true to a certain extent. I can't imagine bringing the
That's so true.
grab an app at 11 p.m. or something like that. But
Yeah, we had one.
something
We had
to think
one.
about.
Time with spouse was on here. We were going to skip it, so we can do that. Yeah, great question,
Well,
Ryan.
yeah.
I think that what you've heard there is actually true. I think spontaneity can happen before 7. After that, it's just different. I think that was probably one of my biggest lessons I learned through this whole thing, was that the answer is not that I can't do something. It's that I have to plan to do something in advance. It's not that I can't see anyone, or I can't go play basketball, or I can't go to a Commanders game next week. It's that I have to plan it, and I have to put it on the calendar and communicate and make sure there's care. And the same goes for your spouse. If they're doing that, then you can know and be available. And it takes away this, like, I need to be available in case something happens. And you're just like, nope, I'll be available on Saturday so you can go do this.
Yep. Yeah, I think you also, like, you got to be creative. Like, it's going to be different, like, it's not going to be, hey, we're going out for apps and we're going to a couple of places to get drinks and going out for dinner. Like, we're going to be out for a while, going downtown. Like, for us, one of, like, the early things we went on was, like, we went to Del Taco for, like, an early dinner, and it was great just to, like, get out and do something. I think just, like, being stuck in the house early on is, I think you almost feel like pressured that you can't go do anything and that's going to be bad for the baby. But, like,
No,
honestly,
they need it.
the first couple of weeks are, like, so, like, I wish I could go back to the first couple of weeks, because, like, all they do is sleep. At least, I've only had one. So, but they sleep so much more than they do now. Find time during those nap times to, like, hey, let's go, grab a bite, go to a store or something. Just getting out of the house was huge for me, because you just feel like trapped sometimes. Of, like, I can't do anything, I can't go anywhere. But it's important to, like, you still have to, like, take care of yourselves and take care of, like, your spouse and your marriage. Like, you can't just drop everything and, like, forget about all that just because the baby, cried once or whatever. So it's like, I think there's just a lot of being creative, being flexible, and finding maybe new means to communicate and spend time with each other.
Last, expectations versus reality. Ryan, what are your expectations around watching sports?
I actually think I'm going to watch way more sports than I do now. Because I think if the baby's asleep or the baby's awake in my arms, I'm just going to have the TV on in the background, crushing whatever is going to be on.
Yeah, you got this, especially right now, because you got the Pats are looking good with Drake.
They look better than they did to start the season.
I think he's the future.
I'm going to sell myself down the river here. And we started this with, like, the Ryan Towney jokes. I turned to my wife the other day after they won 2 weeks ago, and I was like, I'm happy my child is going to be born with the superstar quarterback that I had growing up.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I'm glad you say that, because I could not agree more. I've watched more sports than I ever have in the last 3 months. Somehow Christian's gone the complete opposite way, and I don't know how, because you spend so much time inside. Like Christian said, after 7, you're inside. My wife is like, how soon can I get to bed? So it's just a lot of, like, well, I guess let's find what's on tonight.
Yeah, the biggest winner is FanDuel.
All right. My take is totally opposite. I've never watched less sports. I think there's a couple of factors here. One is I do the night shift, and so I need to sleep. And so I go to bed so early. And baby's, weirdly, my son, he's never awake. Like, I don't even get a West Coast game. He's never awake, like, at 10 p.m., 11 p.m., 12 p.m. It's like he wakes up when the Lakers stop playing. That's when he's like, you know what? Time to wake up. So he's always at 3 a.m. So there's literally nothing on. So I go to bed at 9:30. So that's about all I can watch is, like, the first half of any game. And then it's self-imposed, but it's just like, if I don't sleep now, when am I going to sleep?
I mean, in all fairness, he's not the only person that doesn't want to watch Bronny.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
That's a good point. All right, Ryan. Thank you for playing Expectations versus Reality. We'll wait to see if you are a winner. You don't really find out till months down the road.
Next year when I'm back on the pod,
Like your insurance bill.
Yeah. Ryan, you've listened to the podcast, so I'm sure you're familiar. But we like to do simulators. We've done it to a lot of our guests. Last week for Veterans Day, military dad got off the hook. We didn't put him in one. That was maybe a salute to service there.
You
Dad,
guys are the
please
real
don't-
heroes.
Please don't go, Dad.
So we didn't do it to John, but we figured Ryan, with you been expecting here, getting ready to go into labor in a week.
We owe it to
you're
your
good-
wife.
We owe it to your wife to prepare you as best with the top-notch performance testing that we do in this country, and that is the Other Dad simulators. So the situation is going to be we're going to have a couple characters. Christian will be playing your wife.
Oh boy,
Hi, I'm Aaron.
spot on. Have you met?
Christian is great with the female voices, so that'll be a treat for everyone. You'll have Dr. Bill. Hello, Ryan. This is Dr. Bill. I'm very familiar with the Other Dads.
Dr. Bill, I thought you got fired.
Nope, I am still in practice.
Malpractice
And,
suit's still being settled.
Yep, and there, who knows? There could be some other characters. We'll see. And you'll be playing yourself, Ryan from Boston.
I think I got it.
Okay, all right. Christian, anything you want to add to that, or you think we're
No,
good?
that's it. That's it. We're gonna do.
We're in the hospital.
We're in the hospital. You settled in for a nice induction.
Mm,
You know, got the mint soap out.
mm.
So I'm bathed, to clarify.
A candle's been lit. Yeah, no, things are. We're about to start.
Hey Ryan, things are pretty easy. You could probably go get some food if you wanted to.
That's it. That's the comment.
He's just talking to my husband.
Babe, first and foremost, the mustache is voluptuous right now. So this podcast I was listening to, this kid at work does it. It's fantastic. He was telling me the egg salad here is phenomenal. So I'm gonna go grab us. He had like 4 or 5. I think we're good with 1 or 2. Let me go grab some.
All right. I don't know.
Good.
That was good. That was a good answer. Josh left the hospital. We don't recommend leaving to go pick up food because
So
We don't
I'm gonna
have a plan.
let me take myself out of the scene for a moment here.
okay.
My
Mhm.
house is literally a half a mile from the hospital. So I've already
Oh.
tried to start planting these seeds of, if we forget something, I'll just like run home. Like, don't worry.
Mm.
I've already gotten the absolutely not. Like, you're
I thought you might go get some Chick-fil-A or something. Like Josh went to. I think Josh went to Taco Bell.
Yeah, I did.
All right. And we need a nurse, Josh. If you can start this one off.
Hi, Aaron. Just wanted to check in, see how you guys doing. Get some measurements here. Oh, okay. It sounds like we're starting labor. Okay.
Ryan, help
Dad-
me breathe. Ryan, help me breathe.
I'll let you guys work through this. Go ahead.
Ryan, what should I breathe like?
babe, think back to the classes, start doing your vowels. You got this. I love you. Whatever you need.
Ooh. Thank you so much, Ryan. Thanks for the reminder. Oh no, sorry. Thanks for the reminder.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm sure she'll curse me out at some point.
Okay.
Ryan, what is that? What is that noise I hear?
Okay, guys, this is Nurse Taylor, and there's a tornado drill. We got a tornado outside, tornado warning. If you guys can follow us into the hallway.
Ryan, what's happening?
Babe, don't even worry about it. We're surrounded by experts. Hospitals are built, reinforced. All you focus on is this baby.
I happen to overhear you guys. I'm not a storm chaser. I'm just a nurse. I don't know what to do.
Ryan, am I gonna give birth to this baby in the hallway?
Doesn't matter, babe. The doctor says everything is going great.
Hey there, Ryan. This is Dr. Bill. Things are not trending the right direction. I think.
Baby, Dr. Bill is on the hook for a vicious malpractice suit. Please document everything from here on out.
I think we might have to move towards an epidural.
Whatever's best for the baby. You guys are the doctors. however you recommend this child comes into the world for the health of baby and mother.
Okay, I'm glad I have your support, Ryan.
All right.
Let's see if I come out with 2 black eyes after that.
That was good.
We didn't know your birth plan, so that was a
So-
challenge.
Well, Ryan, that's all we had, man. This was really fun. Thanks for staying on. Thanks for coming on a little late, and being down to have a good time with us. We really appreciate it. Hopefully, this was helpful. And if you have any questions, or we'd love to hear updates as things go. And we're excited for you.
No, I appreciate it. Nothing like a little role play to take me into the evening. On
right.
a
That's right.
serious note, though, like I think the podcast is gold. I sing its graces to any expecting father. And I hit on this earlier. The cutting of the umbilical cord, you guys should bottle up and sell to a comedian. That is prime this podcast. But it's great. It is such an important outlet for expecting fathers who I think so much of the focus is on the birthing parent, rightfully so. Like what they're doing is amazing. And I literally cannot imagine a living thing in me, right? Like it's not in my DNA too, but having an outlet where we kind of talk about, even as we did today, kind of setting expectations of what this whole journey is going to be like in those early days.
Yeah. Thanks, Ryan.
That's awesome.
Appreciate the praise, and keep spreading the word. And if we ever hire a social media coordinator again, we'll maybe bottle up that that piece and send it out. All right, see you, man.
All right. Take it easy, guys. Thank you.
See you, Ryan. Good luck.
Thanks.
Welcome back from the interview with Ryan. We had a really good time talking with him about what to expect. Ryan, we are praying for you and your wife, and we are excited for your journey. And we just pray for a healthy baby, a healthy mom, like you said. Thanks for joining us. We're going to get into segments. We're going to do what we're going to call speed segments.
Maybe we should have done this before.
Yeah, this is us trying to get through this really quickly. So buckle up, get ready. Here we come. Speed segments. Josh, over to you.
Okay, Christian, my first segment is That's My Kid.
What did he do?
I haven't done this in a while. For listeners, if you forgot, you're proud of your kid for doing something. My first one was when he peed in the tub. Obviously, that's
you're proud of your kid for doing something like you, or you're disappointed for doing something like you.
Yeah. The first one he had was peeing in the tub. He's still doing that, maybe at a scary rate. It's starting to be alarming. It's similar to me with peeing in the shower. He can't help himself. As soon as he gets in the tub, he pees. But 2 new ones to build off of that. Morning poops.
Yeah.
He's a big wake up in the morning, take a dump.
That is, I would be proud of that.
I'm the same way. It's a great way to start the day, kind of empty the system. And the second one is sleeping. I wrote sleeping crazy. I went into his room the other night. He was crying, and he was sideways in his crib. I don't know how that happened, but I think you got that from me. I know one time I woke up at the other end of my bed as a child.
That's good.
That's my kid.
That's your kid, man. J.A. He doesn't recognize you, but that is your kid.
All right, Christian, you've got 3, Dr. Rick. Let's do one of them.
All right. First, Dr. Rick. These all come from a neighborhood get-together I was at. I couldn't stop being a dad. First one, I would meet people at the shindig, and they would tell me where they
That's a Dr. Rick. That's a Dr. Rick. Shindig.
They would tell me where they live, and then I would describe their house to them better than they knew. Your house is the one with the fence that has the post in the right corner, and your dog one time almost got out of it. Oh my gosh, that is my house.
That's incredible. Oh yeah, with the fern out front.
Oh, you guys have the red bud.
You guys have the crabgrass issue. Is that right?
Yeah. So many people were like, "Oh yeah, that is where I live."
That's awesome. That's incredible.
All right, back to you, Josh.
All right, I've got a participation trophy, and this one is from tonight, Christian. We've gone back to the bottles, like I mentioned, which means I'm pitching in, and I got my first burp tonight.
Oh my gosh, what a night! Cheers.
It took 3 months and 9 days, and it was awesome. I was pretty pumped. And what we learned from you in the last couple of weeks is, you don't need a lot of pressure there. It's tiny little pats.
Just comes on out.
Just barely touching.
It really changes your world. You're like, oh, do I even have to pat?
Can I just breathe on him?
Today he was just sitting up and he burped.
Okay, Christian, your second Dr. Rick.
My next Dr. Rick is how I describe where I live. I live to the, if you're looking out from the Douglas house to the left side, I have the green fence. I'm on the corner of 14th and it just, I couldn't get over how I was describing where I live. Or in retrospect to a nice park, where there's the park with the median, with the nice oak tree. Okay, you go 2 streets down. It was very embarrassing. I couldn't just tell them my address.
That's awesome.
Back to you, Josh.
Okay, I've got a toy of the week. Beep bop beep.
Toy of the week. Oh, I have one too.
And this is an update from a previous toy of the week. You may have remembered we got a stuffed animal dog. It was Gus.
Gus Bus.
Turns out Gus might be killing him. We mentioned that Jay got sick, and we thought it was because the windows were open. I think it might be because of the scent that's on Gus. He's like lavender scented, and it's very strong.
Oh yeah, lavender is not good for skin.
We took away Gus for the past week, and he's breathing and no sniffles. He's just a total champ. So that could be the end of Gus.
And Gus got taken to a farm.
JA took Gus out back.
Gus went to the farm where he runs and plays.
Gus is in a better place.
That's right. Rainbow Road. My toy of the week, beep bop beep, is our shark vacuum. JJ loves to, you're like, hey Jay, look at this toy, play with this, here's a bouncer. And you know what takes his mind off of his pain is the shark vacuum. He just watched that thing go to work. He loves it. That's toy of the week. Beep bop beep.
Speed segments. This is electric. I'm on the edge of my seat here. Okay, back to me. I've got my own Dr. Rick here. We went out shopping today. Christian, have you heard of Bob's Furniture?
Oh yeah, great commercial.
It's my first time
guy.
Yep, first time going there. Been recommended by some cousins, and I tell you what, this was an incredible place. And I left this place saying to Lady G, some places still know how to do business.
That's right.
They got they treat you like a person, not a number. That's how I felt in that store. They got free cookies and ice cream in the store. They got good prices. They want what's best for you as the customer. The manager came up and talked to us. We were checking out. He said, we want you to look at our competitors. We don't speak bad on them, but we think we have the best prices and the best products.
Wow.
And we think you'll come back to us. And I even said, can I just come in for the cookies and ice cream if I don't buy anything? Joking, I said that. And he was like, oh yeah, people do it all the time.
Whoa, people do it all the time. That is the next level business.
So no free ads with Bob's Furniture. They know business. They know how to treat people.
It's Bob from Boston.
It's Bob from Boston. They're no Panda Express here. They're gonna get my business.
Yeah, that is a good way to do business. I don't know if it's profitable, but it's a good way to do business.
All right, Christian, back to you. Your last Dr. Rick.
My last Dr. Rick is this one's great. I was really proud of this one. I'm in a listserv for the neighborhood, and sometimes you meet people and you know them from the listserv, but you don't know them. Met this guy. He said, I'm Patrick. I said, oh, Patrick from the listserv. He said, yes. And I said, you're the guy who hates weed. and the Dr. Rick here is just summing people up from their emails very quickly and very totally not with context. He's currently trying to fight a distribution center he's trying to make sure they don't get put into this warehousey location. It's just not a good spot for them. It's not good for our kind of changing neighborhood and things of that nature. But I just summed him up in one. You're the guy who hates weed, and you should have seen his face. But that's what dads do. They're like, oh, you're the friend with the weird hair, or oh, you're the cousin with that doesn't like sports. It's like that's who you are. That's your identity. That's why I summed that guy up into one. So you're the guy who hates weed. He's like, oh no, I mean actually, it's about the situation that's happening there and the contract. I was like, I know,
Yeah,
man.
totally.
I was just summing you up, man.
That is good. Very creative. I like that. Okay, Christian, the end of speed segments here, and I got to slow it down a bit here. It's time for dad's ears only.
You can't speed this up.
No.
Ladies, put on a nice slow band.
Let that let that water drip.
You could turn it on a little faster, I guess.
Yeah, you're gonna want to make sure the water stays hot as you fill up the tub.
All right.
All right. This is my for dad's ears only. I talked about it earlier. You know, we're switching to bottles a little bit more. We were pretty exclusively breastfeeding, and my for dad's ears only. I should have said this to Ryan. I hope he's listening. Dads, you're gonna want to push for breastfeeding. You're gonna want to push hard for exclusive breastfeeding. Okay, I don't care what angle you go from, whether it's cost, whether it's efficiency. It's definitely the most efficient. I'm not even afraid to dip my toes into, female empowerment, using the female body to grow a child. Because I got to help now. And boy, feedings used to be like awesome. 20 minutes, go sit on the couch, watch the game, see what the Celts are up to. Now I'm involved. Did 2 feedings today, and it's only going to increase. So this could be the end.
They get better though. They get faster.
He's
Unless your tongue gets tied.
I'm not patient enough for him. And Lady G has made that known. He's like, I wanted to be done in like 2 minutes. It's like, hey, dude, it's 4 ounces. Okay.
Open up that gullet.
Hurry up.
I hear you. I do think some men advocate for breastfeeding to a point where their wives get really upset. But I hear your joking point. But yeah.
I think what it was is I was accustomed to that life, and now I was in the promised land of things were great for both parties,
No wonder he didn't recognize you. You're feeding him in 2 seconds. Bada bing, bada boom, I'm out of here.
Hey. Hey, I'm drinking here.
Man.
Hooty hoo.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Welcome back, ladies, moms.
Do whatever you want.
Let us get involved. We want to help. We want to feed them. Some of us want to breastfeed.
Right.
Let us get that bottle and go to work.
Josh, our last segment, speed segment, did you see the fellows?
I did.
Oh, okay.
I did. I don't know the last time I did. I mean, I legitimately don't know the last time I said yes to this question. But I did, and it was classic fella time. I played basketball for a couple hours with some guys. I only knew one of the guys.
Hey, you saw the fella?
That's right. I saw a fella and some of his fellows, and it was awesome.
Nice.
Christian, did you see the fellas this week?
I sure did.
Whoa, 2 for 2.
We are so back. I got some good time. Went on a run, got a coffee, chatted with the fellows. It was really nice Saturday morning. That's awesome. I'm happy to hear that. All right. That'll do it for our show. Follow us on all our social media platforms. Hope you enjoyed the interview. We got a barn burner of a game. It may come down to next week. Hopefully I don't choke this away. Josh and I are going to see each other next week. So stay tuned for what that looks like for the show. And season finale will be an in-person recording. That's right. Tune in next week where we will do a recap of the first season of the Other Dads, the inaugural season. And we will maybe get into a little bit of a roast of things we did wrong or that were ridiculous. Maybe didn't go as well as we planned. And segments of the season. So the opposite, kind of the best of. And hoping for some call-ins. Hear from some of our friends. Maybe go to the mailbag. Keep those lines open. It's not a live show, but we're going to treat it like it's one. That's right. Well, that's the end of episode 27. Thank you for listening, and we'll catch you next week. Some dads are watching more sports than they ever have. Some dads can't even catch the Lakers. Who needs to watch them anyways? No dad is perfect. Thanks
Yeah,
for,
go Celts.
thanks
Go
for
Celts.
being the other dads.
Are we going? I think we're going back to back, Christian.
Yeah, it's gonna be easy. Who's in our way?
Who's in the Embiid? You kidding me?
Guys,
Guy can't play. Guy can't play back to backs.
oh yeah, bring in Paul George. Thanks for more injuries. You ever heard of a guy named Derek White? And we
I
ain't
can't even.
nobody in the West. And that's it.
Peace.
Finger guns.
Do you believe in miracles from the grave? I win 3 in a row to get within 1 game of Christian in the series, with now 1 week to go, with no thanks to his Dallas Cowboys, who lose to the Houston Texans 34-10 in the battle for Texas. We've now got 1 more week before a loser is confirmed and one of us faces our yet to be determined punishment. How about them Cowboys?